Okay, guys, welcome back. And I should say welcome back for the last time in the Alexander campaign. As a quick reminder, you are now watching an epilogue episode for the campaign. So there's not going to be any battles, there's no more gameplay. The last episode has already come out. It should have come out at the same time, actually, as this episode. So if you've already seen it, that's the end of the gameplay, that's the end of the campaign, and now we're just going to go through an epilogue episode, where basically we do a map reveal, we go through some old saves, and do map reveals then too, to just see how the campaign progressed as things went on. Just a couple of other things too towards the end, but anyways, that's what's going to go on in this episode, so if you don't care to hear any of that, I'm sure, well, depending on when you see this, there's either new campaigns for you to watch or maybe a couple of old ones for you to watch. So go ahead and feel free to watch some of those if you care to. So anyway, this is where the campaign ended, basically. This is just before the final battle where Alexander took Chak or Kosh or however the heck that is pronounced. And we did have to go back to this point because you may remember, especially if you just watched the episode, but basically once you take the settlement, it kind of just kicks you back to the campaign map. So there is no like continuing on, I guess, afterwards. So here we are. Now, without any further delay, let's just go ahead and get the Fog of War out of here, just so that we can see everything that remains. Which shouldn't be very much, though I didn't know that you were here. I actually thought that this guy might be the faction leader, but no. In fact, he's not even the faction heir. It just says he's the governor. Wouldn't it say he's the faction heir if he was as such? Yeah, I don't think he is. So wait, does that mean there's another general around here? Oh wait, yeah, that guy's not a general. Oh, so the Persians do hold a settlement here in India. Wait, it doesn't say that this guy is the faction heir either. Oh, maybe because he's too far away, I can't really see him. Actually, do we have... I think it's Perfect Spy? No? Alright, there we go. I've got Perfect Spy turned on as well, which... that seems to have lagged the map considerably for some reason. Or at least it did over to the right of the map. Ow, yes. Toggling Perfect Spy has like... Ow. Just hurts the FPS down here. So I guess we'll be brief over here. So yeah, I thought that this area might have a settlement, though it was also completely blocked off from me. So there was... I knew I couldn't like get over here at least. But anyway, so now we click on this guy, and we can see all of his troops now. But it looks like he's not the faction heir. Wow, that's quite slow motion. If we click in here, yeah. Oh, they had some Bactrians! Wait a minute. How did these guys lose anyone? Oh, maybe they fought some rebels or something that spawned in? Because there's no way, like, armies could ever get over here. Or at least I don't think so. So it occurs to me, is it possible for... I don't really have an army over here who could try this, but... Okay, no, it doesn't look like... Yeah, it doesn't look like I can get over here under really any circumstances. But anyway, so yes, they do have this settlement over here in India that's just kind of hidden off to the side here. So even if I had, like, finished off all of their family members there at Kosh... Oh, crap. The game has crashed. I will be... Oh, wait, no. Did it not crash? Oh, wait, no. I thought for a minute that it was going to come back, but nope. It is done for. Okay, guys, welcome back once again. So, it crashed, obviously. Well, I guess I actually don't know what that would have looked like on your guys' end, but in my case, at least, it crashed. And so I've brought us back into the game. I did try to toggle Perfect Spy again, but again, it started to like really seriously lag the game. So I've turned it off so we can't see things perfectly again. But anyway, regardless, things now seem to be smooth, so hopefully it won't crash again. But anyway, it looks like they had one more settlement over here. And of course, they had a couple of just like armies here that I couldn't see without the Fog of War being toggled off. But basically, it was over. And yeah, again, I don't know why this settlement is here. I guess it's just kind of like an Easter egg thing. Like, hey, Alexander did actually make it over here, but I guess technically you can't. I guess that means the Persian Empire can technically never be actually destroyed as a faction because they will always still have one settlement. I mean, maybe if you could kill all the family members. Oh, except I couldn't get like an assassin over here to kill this guy. So yeah, I guess the Persian Empire would just be forever sitting over here, untouchable, but also, I guess, unable to attack us, because they don't even have... Wait, is this a port? Okay, yeah, actually, this counts as a port. I guess they could make navals, they could make fleets, they could make ships, if they wanted to like, harass us. And I guess we would just have to, like, perpetually blockade that port, like, to try to keep them from doing that. But no armies could actually leave that area. Okay, but now let's take a look at this, because this is something I definitely wanted to know. So let's see, they've got 4, 5, 6, 7. I think they have more troops now. Or no. I think we had said that they had like around 8 stacks, right? And it looks like they still have basically 8 stacks. Yeah, so that's what we would have to do if we ever continued this campaign. We'd basically have to, like, I guess have maybe a different army, like, hold down and just keep Koch under siege, but we could never actually take it, because then it would just immediately end, and we'd have to then send armies up here to fight the Dahe. But yeah, apart from that, there isn't much to say, though, about the campaign map, because, of course, it was mostly already revealed anyways. We were killing rebels. We were slaying black market merchants with the secret police. And I think at this time, the only rebel group that actually exists is this group here. And the only black market merchants that exist are these 2 guys here and, like, these 2 guys here. Basically, the entire rest of the map is clean. No rebels, no black market merchants, no nothing. So, I guess that's a pretty short map reveal, but there it is. So now, let's go ahead and go back through some of our older saves, and again, we'll do a map reveal. I don't know that we'll do Perfect Spy. I mean, I guess we could, just so long as we don't, like, head over to this side of the map, or, like, guess specifically this corner. Because it seems to be fine when I'm, like, basically anywhere else. So maybe we'll do that. But anyway, let's go ahead and load up an older save. Okay, guys, welcome back. So, I have toggled both the Fog of War and actually Perfect Spy, and I did go zooming around the map for a bit, just to, I guess, see how things looked. And I didn't have any, like, stutters or anything, so I actually think we're good to use both commands now. But anyway, this is where the very first day of recording basically ended, so it's actually this save right here. So this is how the map would have looked after the very first, session was over. I don't think we actually have done very much. Actually, have we done anything? Because, I mean, Sparta is about ready to rebel. I wonder if this is actually, like, just, I ended, like the first save is basically just the prologue, like where I recorded the prologue, because I don't think we've actually moved anything from, like, their original positions. Like, I know Parmenion's here. Parmenion. Back when you were alive and still in command of your troops. Yeah, I think on the very first turn, I did have Parmenion leave and go attack Byzantium, so yeah. This must be actually just literally like the first turn of the game, and I haven't moved anyone at all, which actually means it's a good baseline for us to see where everything is. So, obviously the Persians have considerable forces here. You have the Scythians up here. Actually, you know what? What I'll do is I'm going to start here in the south and just kind of work my way, like, from here all the way around and then back over. So that's what we'll do. The Persians have a bunch of ships here, and I think they end up merging these into basically one fleet. They have a lot of troops. They have, like, this army here, but also, like, if you look at the garrisons, they do have a bunch of soldiers, and some, like, even just standing out, like, in the middle of the desert here. If we go up here to Tyre, Amida and Hatra. Yeah, they have tons of troops. They do have some rebellious settlements, too, that they would have to deal with. Okay, I did have a slight stutter there, but it was only slight, so I think we're still good. Yeah, and see, look, there's that Bactrian cavalry unit. So I guess there must have been some rebels here at some... Oh, or maybe not rebels, but you see, they're rioting, so maybe they just kept losing some troops in the riots. That's a possibility, too. So then as we head north, here's the Dahe. Oh, and their capital was actually always Kucha. So I guess Nisa was always just like a separate side settlement. And it looks like they also always had tons of troops, though they don't have 8 stacks, that's for sure. And I want to say that these two settlements shouldn't even be able to support the number of troops that they already have. So I wonder if there's like a script or an event or something that just spawns in troops for them, because there's no way these two settlements can support, again, even the troops that they currently have. So for them to have even more, or maybe they just start off with like such a huge treasury that they're able to train up more troops before they finally run out of money or something. I don't know, but for whatever reason, they seem to have a lot of troops. Then, like, we have the Scythians over here, who do not have much in the way of soldiers at all. All right, and now we're back to where we were before. So here's Isis, or Isis, whatever, Sinope, Lampsacus. Now we're back in our own territory again. Oh, right, and I forgot, the Illyrians were also here. I completely forgot about them. So now, I am a little curious, though, because I thought... Didn't the Scythians... Or not the Scyth... Oh, wait, yes, these are the Scyth... No, these are the Thracians. Oh! I once again completely just, like, glossed over them. These are two separate factions. There's Illyria and the Thracians here, and they're separate from the Scythians. I mean, I did eliminate them very quickly, so admittedly, maybe that's why I kind of forgot about them. But anyway, so the Thracians are here, but I thought that when I brought Parmenion over... They had like this other force here that joined them, like a big army. Ready to sail! But I don't see them, even though I have like perfect spy on and everything. So where did they go? Oh, can I not see them? Even though like it's an ambush. You know what? Hold on a sec. I want to know. Right. Can you land? Let's say here. Aha! Okay, so Perfect Spy actually does not allow you to see armies that are in ambush. Interesting. Yeah, because in the actual campaign, what happened was I had Parmenion go around here and basically start besieging Byzantium. And then the very next turn, he was attacked by this force because they were hiding here in ambush, and then they just came out of ambush and attacked him. But since I didn't know they were there, like, I didn't realize that he was going to be attacked by such a large force. Alright, but good to know. I guess the Persians could have even more troops then, like hidden... Well, I guess there's not a whole lot of places where there's trees where they could be hidden. Some places here, I guess. But anyway, I guess that's the state of the campaign at the very beginning. We had Parmenion over here. We had Alexander over here just with their starting troops. We had no money. I definitely remember that being a thing. Let's see, finances. Actually, we don't even need to look at this because we can just look right up here. We start off with 10,000, but we have a 3,000 deficit, which is a real problem. I remember it was actually quite a while before we could train up any more troops for ourselves. Ugh. Which is, yeah, that feels weird though, because by the end of the campaign, like my money was infinite. Like I could buy anything and everything that I wanted to at any time. All right, but anyway, so now here's how the campaign started off. Now let's see how it continued. All right, welcome back once again. So we've just gone one save forward, and as we can see, things have already progressed a bit. Now, since I've already done that first save, we've kind of like established the baseline, so now we'll just kind of blow through all of the other saves here pretty quickly, just kind of pointing out what's different. Starting with our own territories. See, I've got a general around here placing watchtowers, and it looks like I've actually already gone as far as had Parmenion beat the Scythians, the Thracians, and Alexander has already defeated the Illyrians too. Hey, can we see what turn it actually is? Well, I think we start off with 100 turns, right? So it must be 9 turns into the future. I don't see any way else of telling what turn it is. So anyway, yeah, I think it's been a few turns. We've, again, eliminated those factions, like I said. Though the Scythians, that's right, I remember they had this force that was kind of, I don't know if they were like hidden in ambush or something, or maybe they were down here and Parmenion just kind of passed them by to take their settle. Oh, that is what happened, yes. I actually thought that Timaeus was their last settlement. It isn't. They also have Azura. But I thought this was their last settlement, and so I was just going to take it, and then their bigger force, this one here, was just going to turn into rebels, and then Parmenion could just kind of eliminate them. But that didn't happen because it's not their last settlement. So then I had to quickly have Parmenion come down here to the ships and get ferried over to Byzantium to basically save it from this force over here as they were coming down south. Very annoying, those Scythians. And it looks like Alexander has crossed over here. He has a bit of a mixed army at the moment. This was before we could really train up any archers, so he has mostly javelins. Still has his Hippaspis, has some of his phalangists at least. And he's going to be in Halicarnassus for a while, because remember, the Persians bring up a lot of forces, and basically Parmenion has to come down here and save him. But I think we're still quite a few turns ahead of that, so I guess we'll save that for a future overview. And boy, we can see the Persians are already like gathering their forces, because these settlements had troops, for sure they did, but now they're empty except for a single governor. And the troops that were here appear to have just been gathered all up into one army and is being sent over to Halicarnassus. And that's occurring across the empire. Like, look at all these settlements that have just like one unit now. They're just gathering up their armies, and you can see them starting to march. Some more of them over there. There's, oh boy. It is, however, causing rioting and rebellion in different settlements. That is unfortunate for them. And I can see rebel groups are already popping up. Oh. Okay, no, wait. They're not at war with each other. That's not what has happened over here. At least I'm pretty sure that's not what's happened. Let's see. Persians. Yes, they are still allied. But it looks like Bactria rebelled. Because I think on the last save, they were in control of Bactria. The Persians were. So they must have immediately rebelled. Well, not immediately. We are a few turns into the game after all. So they must have rebelled pretty quickly, though. And then the Persians came to take the settlement back. It looks like the Dahe were maybe thinking they could possibly take it. But the Persians definitely got there first. And boy, did they throw armies at it. There's like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units in here. There's 9 units in that settlement, and they threw like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and most of a 6th stack at them. Plus their allies, the Dahe, are here. So those guys definitely didn't stand a chance. I also can't help but notice that I thought I had toggled Perfect Spy. But I can't actually see... Oh, wait, there we go. Okay, I must have not actually toggled it. Maybe I had to hit it twice or something. But anyway, so yes, there's their units. Not very many of them, to be honest. And there's, of course, all of the forces that the Persians have brought in. Yeah, and we're not freezing up or anything, so yes, Perfect Spy should still be fine. They have some forces over here as well, but anyway, that's basically it. The Persian Empire is marshaling its forces to send them at us, except for these rebels back here who are just being piled on by the Persians and the Dahe. So anyway, let's go ahead and go forward to the next save. All right, so welcome to the next save here. It looks like it's been... Oh, wait, if I can hover over it, it tells me what turn it is exactly. Okay, but it looks like we actually had about 101 turns then. So That last turn was probably on turn, like 10, 9 or 10. Because I already forgotten what it actually said up here. But anyway, so we're another 10 or so turns into the future. And I have turned off Perfect Spy because actually it is causing frame drops when I go to the right of the map there. So we'll just leave it off and maybe we'll turn it on for just a moment if we really feel we need to like see what units an army has or something like that. But anyway, I believe this must be after the battles of Lydia. I mean, he hasn't taken a lot of casualties here, Parmenion, but at the same time, the Persians don't seem to have a lot of armies. But you may recall from like one of our earlier episodes, basically there were 3 battles here, basically right in a row, where Parmenion was attacked by the Persians and he basically just obliterated them. Like thousands upon thousands of casualties. This is quite possibly Parmenion's finest hour, like even more so than like Babylon. Well, I guess based on the sheer like casualties he caused. I think based on like the tactics involved, Babylon might actually be a little more glorious because he was attacked from behind while also attacking a settlement. Whereas here, he just had to sit, like, marshal his troops around a river and, like, wait for the enemy to throw themselves on his spears to their deaths, which... Oh, and while getting blasted by javelins and shot with arrows. This is also probably the only point in the campaign where we were actually recruiting mercenaries. Because basically, I needed to make sure his troops were, like, his army was fully filled out. Because there were just so many Persians here that it was like... I just had to, you know, I didn't know how well the battles would necessarily go, and I assumed he would take a fair number of casualties, which again, he really didn't. He obliterated the Persians as they came for him. We also fought multiple sieges at this point at Halicarnassus, and of course Alexander obliterated them as well, but, well, I say obliterated, he defeated them, but he took heavy casualties in return, and so I think this is after like 2 or 3 sieges. And he's just now able to, like, replenish his troops enough so that he can carry on here. Because there was a real possibility that Alexander would be killed here. Like, I mean, look at this. There's 7 guys there. There's 53, 28, 34. I mean, we do have higher numbers among, like, the Phalangists and the Hoplites. So, I mean, we could have maybe weathered another siege. But without, like, fire support... And if they just had, like, you know, a few more armies, they could have actually ended up killing Alexander. Like, if they had ignored Parmenion on the ford there and just threw all of their forces against Halicarnassus, he would have lost. Because, I mean, Parmenion couldn't really have come to his aid. I mean, if he had, like, left the ford and, like, attacked the armies here, they would have just obliterated him out in the open field. All right, but anyway, so at this point, many, many thousands of Persians have died here. I don't even know how many. Tens of thousands, I would say. Because, again, there were at least, like, 3 battles, which had, like, a couple thousand each. And there were a couple of sieges of Halicarnassus, at least, like, 2, 3, 4, maybe? And he obliterated large numbers of Persians there, too. So many, many thousands of Persians have died at this point. And again, we've also eliminated 2 factions. The Illyrians and the Thracians. Alright, but anyway, let's do what we did before then, and let's start down here. Some more rebels are cropping up. Some rebellions, by the look of it, or at least some unhappiness, rioting and stuff is occurring throughout the Persian Empire here. Wow, actually in quite a few places. Isis, Sinope, Atra... Memphis is going to join them soon enough. And yes, while many Persians have been eliminated, and you can see there's not a whole lot of Persian forces here, they have more armies to spare, so they're bringing up some more. Oh, and yeah. This happened a few times where they would just abandon a settlement altogether, which is probably not a good idea. I assume this is rioting that's causing all this damage here. It's probably not good. But we actually end up taking a couple of settlements later in the campaign just because they were abandoned. I think Memphis might have been one. I want to say it was either Amida or Hatra. I can't remember which one, but I'm pretty sure one of these two was basically undefended and we just kind of walked in and took it. Well, the Dahe are kind of on the move. I wonder if it's scripted that they actually can't go to war with the Persians, because I imagine they would, honestly, if this was just like a regular campaign, because, I mean, they don't border anyone else other than the Persians, so they don't have anyone else really to fight. I also can't train diplomats or anything, so I couldn't even try to change the diplomatic situation, even if I wanted to. Okay, more rebels. Oh, and they've abandoned Pura as well. Oh, Taxila is still having issues. Wait a minute. Even though Perfect Spy is off, I can still see. Oh, I guess Perfect Spy is on then. That's weird. It must have actually had frame rate drops then while it was off? That's kind of weird. All right, but anyway, Bactria, of course, was retaken, and it looks like they actually left a sizable garrison there. Quite sizable. But most of these guys must leave at some point, because there were definitely no Bactrians when we took it, and there were no archers either. Though some of these immortals and Kardakes could literally be the men who were there the entire time. But yes, basically, at this point, the Dahe are just kind of doing nothing really, just wandering around the Persian Empire. The Persians still have substantial forces, but they've also lost substantial forces, and there's clearly rebellion and rioting and abandoned settlements going on throughout the Empire here. And of course, the Scythians are still around. They have their one settlement. We will take it eventually, but that day is not this day. And oh, right, and they still have this army here. All right, but anyway, that's it. So let's go ahead and push forward another save. Okay, guys, welcome back again. It has been, let's see, I think it was 80 turns. Did it say 80 turns last time? I think we were on turn 20, so it's now 12 turns into the future. And this time I think I really have left Perfect Spy turned off, because I saw some settlements and armies here where I can't see. Oh, well, I can see some of their armies, though. Oh, but not everything, so Perfect Spy must really be off. All right, but anyway, let's look at our own stuff first. Obviously, the Scythians were able to get that one army that they had left around here to threaten my settlements over here. I believe, let's see, yes, Parmenion must be over here at Sinope, because he manages to take his troops overland to take Azara before they managed to take Tanais. Though I think they were dilly-dallying, and that's really why they weren't able to take it. See, have I started training up? Yes, this must be literally the turn that they dropped off the army, though, because I haven't trained up any more, like, troops for the garrison. Because I did start training up hoplites, and I think Hippaspis and stuff, too, waiting for them to start besieging the place, and then they never did. Oh, and I see we've actually gotten far enough ahead now that we actually have positive income. Excellent. Excellent. See, not much of anything should really have happened over here. Obviously, rebels are starting to crop up, as are the black market merchants. We don't have the secret police or anything yet, and I doubt we have the money to create, like, anti-rebel forces and send them after them either. So that's why the Empire's in a bit of a shambles. See, it looks like the Persians have also blockaded the port here, which is why Pella is going to have serious public order issues. I'm sure I pointed it out at some point during the campaign, but basically, they sit here and blockade it for so long that, like, I just have to build a fleet to destroy them, because otherwise Pella was going to rebel. Because this just builds up. This blockaded modifier here, it just keeps building up, like 5%, like every single turn. And so at one point, it was at, like, negative 100 or something just outrageous. But at this point, we definitely don't have the money. We don't have the manpower for all of this. Like, that's the entirety of the Macedonian Navy, is this one ship here. And that's it. We can't even beat up the Scythians, never mind the Persians at this point. At least on the sea. Of course, we can beat them up on the land, and that has definitely happened. We've definitely left Lydia. See, and we've made it... Okay, we've made it as far as ISIS at the moment. Alexander has mostly the force that he will have for the rest of the campaign. He does still have a single hoplite unit. He has mostly allied cavalry.
My lord?
Oh, right, because I think Parmenion has the other companion cavalry unit.
Yes,
Or no, wait, where is it? Oh, okay, there it is, there. I think we retrain that at some point, maybe at Babylon, and that's when we then add them back to Alexander's army.
sir.
Let's see, are we getting another Phalangist unit? Ah, yes, we are. Okay, so that's where the other Phalangist unit comes from. Because he definitely doesn't, like, go too much further forward with any more hoplites. I think that maybe just gets added to his, like, backup army at that point. It is nice at this point, though, I mean, that we have enough money. It looks like this is when we actually start really, like, standardizing the armies, because up to this point, we were just kind of using whatever troops we had available, but now we have the settlements and we have the money to actually, like, train up more standard armies. So you see, like, Parmenion has mostly hoplites. He does have some extra Hippaspis, so I think maybe his army for a little while continues to be a bit more of a hodgepodge, like he doesn't get his archers yet. I do also, for quite a while, actually, instead of having, like, allied cavalry, I just have some generals fill out his cavalry contingent. Which is fine. In fact, now that I reflect back on the campaign, I wonder if I should have just done that. Because, like, I had plenty of generals, I mean, especially at the end, but even at the beginning I had... Well, not the beginning. No, that's not true. I really didn't at the beginning have a lot of generals. I remember, like, constantly refusing new generals. Like, I would get messages saying that, hey, you can have a new general, but at the very beginning of the campaign, I didn't have any money, so I just kept refusing them because I didn't want them to, like, just kill my income even more than it already was. But from the mid to late campaign, when I had money, maybe I should have just always had, like, instead of having a general and 4 cavalry units, I should have just had 5 generals, and, like, they would just acted as the cavalry. Because, I mean, I could have done that, especially towards the end. But anyway, I didn't think of it at the time, so it is what it is. We haven't advanced nearly as far, but again, we definitely fought, like, a bunch more battles against the Persians. Like, not just the settlements themselves, but, like, at least a few field battles to eliminate them up to this point. All right, but anyway, let's do our little go around again. Honestly, not too much has changed here. More and more rebels popping up. Obviously, we already talked about the Scythians. Looks like the Persians, again, are trying to gather some forces. They still have left Persepolis without a garrison. Still not sure of the wisdom of that. The Dahe are still just kind of milling about over here. Pura still does not have a garrison either. Okay, and the Dahe still don't seem to... Oh, actually, no, they do have more forces, I think. 1, 2, 3... They now have 6 stacks, where I don't believe they did before. Again, they must have, like, a huge starting treasury, or, like, a script or something that just drops troops on their heads. Like, here you go, here's a stack for you. Because there's no way these 2 settlements could support, like, just that large of a force. Alright, but next save then. Alright, so here we are at the next save. We still have the Persians who are blockading the port of Pella here. Their numbers are dropping, though. I think they must have gotten hit with a couple of storms, because I definitely haven't attacked them yet. Though, we can see the start of a Macedonian navy here, which will eventually defeat them. Oh, we also see the beginnings of my anti-rebel activity here, because you can see that rebels have been eliminated up here, and this force is now coming over to eliminate these rebels over here. We haven't started the secret police yet, though, because I still see that there's still plenty of black market merchants throughout my territory here. Speaking of my territory, it looks like we've eliminated the Scythians. Actually, here, let's just confirm that really quick. Yes, it is just the Dahe and the Persians left. So Parmenion has already defeated them here at Azara. And, oh right, then they would have turned into rebels. So then I bet you this force actually went over there and eliminated them, because I don't think I brought back Parmenion to take care of them. Either that, or I just trained up a force here at Teneus and had them eliminate whatever was left. In fact, I think that is what happened. I was already training up additional forces to try and hold the city in case they besieged it. So maybe just a few more, units trained up there, and then I was probably able to just defeat them at that point. All right, so anyway, Alexander would have moved on, of course. Ah, there he is.
Yes, Strategos.
So we've actually taken all of Egypt and Libya. Looks like we have forces moving out to eliminate some of the rebels, and also generals who are placing watchtowers. Another one up here. And again, I believe Memphis, it was either Memphis or Rakotis, I'm pretty sure it was Memphis, was actually taken without a fight. Because they had actually... Oh, right, that's right. I think the governor must have died, because they did have a single unit, the governor, in there. And I remember Alexander was approaching to put them under siege, and then he was suddenly gone. And he wasn't like in Rakotis or anything either, so he must have just died and left the city defenseless. And so then we just took it without a fight. All right, and while Alexander was doing that, Parmenion advanced in this direction. Again, he took Azara, like we already said, and then he headed south to take Amida and Hatra, one of which was, I believe, also just not garrisoned at all. And now here we had a bit of a delicate balance to maintain here, because... Well, I have the backup army here in Hatra.
My lord.
And then I tried to get them to attack me here at the ford. Like, that's why Parmenion is standing here. It's just to see if they would attack him. But that doesn't happen. He ends up having to go around to take Susa and then come back to take Babylon. And by that time, Alexander is able to catch up. Now, funnily enough, because we can see this settlement right now because I've toggled the Fog of War, but I actually had no idea the settlement was here. So even though Alexander could have stopped heading towards Babylon and just stopped here at Petra first, just to take it before moving on, that didn't happen. He ends up just walking right past it. In fact, actually, can I toggle the Fog of War back off again? Yeah, see, I didn't know that the settlement was there. And so he just walked right past it, and I had to end up like training up a force to just come over here and take Petra. All right, and yeah, I guess not too much is happening over here. Obviously, the Persians are gathering up what forces they have left, which is still quite substantial. See, there's like 2 armies. Well, I guess that one's not really full. Yeah, that's half of a stack. And of course, they have these forces here, but... Oh yeah, and they actually have this army here, which has been here for quite a while. Is this rebel group seriously been holding back the Persian reinforcements? And like, is that why these 2 guys are just kind of standing here too? I swear, the AI has some kind of problem with rebels. Specifically, they don't attack them. Because I think all of these rebels actually stay here until I get over here and I end up killing them. Which seems ridiculous. Especially since the rebels can just kind of block up passageways like this. No, but no, at the same time, I'm pretty sure I have seen the AI, at least in the base game. I thought I saw them kill a rebel group, at least at one point. But then again, during that initial campaign, like the very first campaign I recorded for the channel, it was the Julii campaign. There was a rebel group that the Senate, like, refused to kill in, like, the main, like, province where Rome is. And they just, like, they didn't kill them for like almost the entirety of the campaign. They just kind of left them. So I do think the AI has some kind of problem when it comes to like fighting the rebels, even though they're enemies. They just don't attack them, or they don't attack them very much at least. You can see Taxila is getting more and more forces. All right, how many armies do the Dahe have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And part of another. I think that's another increase from the last time we checked. Man, they just have... Oh, wait, they also have another small force over here, too. Man, they just have tons and tons of troops. Oh, look, there's... I'm pretty sure that... Oh, wait, no. I thought that was maybe the last rebel group that I hadn't killed off. But no, I think that is one that I do end up killing. Alexander ends up killing them over there. All right, but anyway, we are now back to our own territory, so once again, let's jump ahead. Okay, guys, welcome back once again. It is the middle of the night, it would seem. I have managed to already forget, once again, how many turns it has actually been, though I feel like that's a bit more substantial. Turn 54? Well, anyway, it's a bunch of turns forward. I don't know exactly how many. Okay, not much is happening over here. We have definitely started the secret police, though, because I see that the black market merchants have all started to disappear, and I see assassins wandering about the place. We must have also defeated the Persian navy, because Pella is no longer blockaded, though the remnants still appear to be alive and are blockading our port over there, so we have some ships going over there to eliminate them. Let's see. Not much is happening over here. Again, just rebels and merchants being slaughtered. Actually, there are so many of them that I think the secret police must have just been established like a few turns ago. They're finding many, many targets to kill. And actually, they must have already killed a few in this turn already, because this guy, he's well within range of him, but he can't actually kill him this turn, which means he's already attacked someone else. The same is true of this guy. He is within range, but he can't kill him, meaning he's already attacked someone else this turn. So yes, the purge of the rebels and of the merchants has certainly begun. Oh, yes, we had Antigonus up here, placing watchtowers. Ah, and this is after the Battle of Babylon and Susa. But I guess before we go over there really quickly, here's that force that I mentioned. One we trained up specifically for the sole purpose of coming over here and taking Petra, because I didn't realize it was even here.
Yes, Strategos.
Alexander walked right past it. But yes, we have taken Babylon, obviously. And so our glorious victory there, Parmenion's, again, I don't want to say his most glorious, but it's pretty close to his most glorious. I want to say, surely by body count, the battles of Lydia were more glorious, but in terms of, like, tactics, I guess Babylon would be the crown. All right, and obviously, again, like I explained, Parmenion came and took Susa, and then went back to Babylon while Alexander got over here as well, and then just watched him take Babylon. So then we continued down here. Oh, and so much of the map was revealed that I forgot to actually reveal the rest of it. So let's just do that really quick. There we go. So he's going to take Persepolis, which finally has a garrison. A rather small garrison, but certainly an elite one, considering they have heavy Bactrian cavalry there. I would say most of Persia's forces, though, have been eliminated, with the exception of up here in the north. And when we last checked, this place had not rebelled. It was still under the control of the Dahe, and it looks like they didn't manage to actually... I mean, they had most of their forces right here. Then again, it's been a few turns, so maybe they wandered off, and the Persians managed to get to it first. Yeah, in fact, it looks like the Dahe just kind of... It's like they just kind of abandoned things and just started heading back towards their capital over here. Like they didn't even try to take back Nisa. They just said, the Persians can have it. As you can see, all of the same rebel groups are still here. I mean, even this unit here, the one that was blocking like their advance from coming any further, they're still here. They didn't end up killing them to then try and like bring their troops around here to help out. All right, but, well, I guess that's it, so let's jump ahead again. All right, welcome back once again. So, let's see. I guess, again, not much is going to be happening through most of our empire at this point. Just killing rebels, killing black market merchants. Petra has been taken, and I can see my generals here are advancing and placing watchtowers so we can see everything. I can see most of my generals are gathering, because you see, at one point, like, my generals, many of them were just kind of back here, like, placing watchtowers and stuff, and so I then had them catch up, basically, to be part of the backup armies, and it looks like that's basically what's been happening here. All right, we have advanced through Persepolis. Carmana has been taken, and it looks like Parmenion's army is now heading towards Pura. And Parmenion is referred to as the Butcher at this point. Oh, I should have actually done, as I was going through these saves, I should have checked to see what Alexander's titles were changing to. Oh well, but anyway, Parmenion is advancing, and he has fought his second to the last battle, because Carmana was his last battle that you guys would have seen. His literal last battle would be against these rebels here. And then as he was approaching Pura, unfortunately, he perished. Did not live to see the end of the campaign. We'll have to build many statues and dedicate many temples to his great name. Parmenion the Butcher. All right, we have also... Alexander basically went north at this point, and he took Tabe, and it looks like he's going to be fighting Otanes at this point and taking Ecbatana. And this is where I was confused, because I was like, wait a minute. With the Fog of War turned off, I couldn't see that it was a rebel settlement. And it looked like it was still belonged to the Dahe. But that is not so. It has been rebel for some time now, and it looks like, yes, at this point the Dahe have pulled back literally all of their forces back to Kucha. And that's where they'll be for the rest of the campaign. Also, their settlement is suffering from rioting. And they only have one unit in there, even though they could easily put more units in there. I wonder what would have happened, actually. What if Kucha had actually rebelled? Because then they would have had no settlements. But the Alexander expansion came out after Barbarian Invasion, so is there a horde mechanic in Alexander? Would these guys have just become a horde faction and then they could have immediately taken Kucha back? Or would they have just been eliminated? Would that have just been the end of their faction? Well, interesting thought, but anyway. Obviously all the rebels are still over here. Looks like Bactria never managed to rebel again. Oh, hey! Were you actually going to attack those rebels and actually try and eliminate them? Alright, but anyway, yes. That is basically it. This is all that's left of the Persians here. Alexander and Parmenion are on the march. But anyway, let's go ahead and skip forward another save. Alright, so we've only got a couple of saves to go, but basically, and I think we're just going to blaze right through them, to be honest, because, I mean, there's not much to say. Rebels are being killed. Black market merchants being eliminated. Ecbatana has fallen to Alexander at this point, and that Persian army was eliminated. He's also taken Nisa, and it looks like that's where he currently is. Meanwhile, Parmenion, by this point, has sadly perished, as we have taken Pura. Oh, and Quetta. And we are just outside of Multan. At this point, we actually eliminated a couple of rebel groups, and so he's just going to eliminate a couple more of these Persians before besieging Multan. I think he manages to take out both of these before getting there. Persians are definitely on the ropes. Just a few settlements left. They still have some decent forces, like if they were all gathered in one place. And the Dahe are still up there. Rebels are still over there, but yeah, I guess not much to say about this save. I guess we've only got a couple more to go, so let's skip ahead again. Alright, so here we are once again. This is the second to the last save, so we've only got one more to go. I'm struggling to think of anything to say about the rest of the Empire, but it's exactly how it looks. Rebels are being killed, black market merchants being assassinated. See, it looks like Olganes' army at this point... Oh, right, this would have been basically like a turn ago, because this is the the save where basically I finished off by having that crash. The one that occurred basically as we were just finishing the Battle of Banu. Like, this is where I would have basically just auto-saved. Yeah, and I guess, yeah, so Olganes... Wait, he is Olganes, isn't he? Yes, he is. Olganes would have taken Multan, Balk, and then headed to Bactria, while his backup army headed to Banu. Alexander, after leaving Nisa, kind of wandered his way up here. He killed a rebel group that was here, but then another one spawned in, and then he traveled over the mountains here to get to Kash. And I think I kind of hinted at this during the last episode, but basically, Alexander's army had to do a lot less fighting at this point. Or, I guess, a save ago. Because when you look at what his army accomplished, basically, once they split up here at Persepolis, Parmenion took his army and attacked Karmana and then went east. And then Alexander went north. So he had to take Tabe, Ekbatna, Nisa, and then ended up at Kash. So he took, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and is at his 4th settlement. Now, he did have to fight a couple of field battles here and there, but then so did Parmenion's army. So anyway, he took like those 3 settlements, but then Parmenion's army would have had to take, he took Karmana, then Pura, and by that point it would have been Olganes' army. In fact, let's just start from it just being Olganes' army. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now he's at his 5th. Okay, well that's not so bad then, because Alexander is at his 4th, so it would have only been 1 extra settlement. It just felt like it was more, I guess. Well, not more or less. It was like Alexander had fought less battles and taken fewer settlements, but it's only 1 fewer settlement at this point. All right, so technically we do have 1 more save to go, but let's be honest, you guys already know how it ends. Banu is taken. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. I mean, after all, I don't see why we can't just go forward to the next save, even though, again, we already know basically how it ends. Nothing much to say over here. As you can see, we've taken Banu by auto-resolve because we had to. Well, I guess we didn't have to. I could have fought the battle again, but I wasn't gonna. We've taken Bactria. Our poor Hypaspis unit. Actually, we had 2 units. I mean, this unit obviously doesn't look beat up, but it was in the actual battle. As was this one. No thanks to those Persian peltasts on the walls. And of course, we are here just before the battle when Alexander takes Kash and ends the campaign. And I didn't turn the Fog of War off, even though I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. By the way, the reason I just did this and then went right back up here, you may have noticed there was flickering along the edge of the map here, and I found I could fix that simply by like going down here, like getting the map basically out of view, and then going back up, and it would be gone. It'd be fixed. Kind of odd. But anyway, so here is where the campaign ended, and you guys already know all of the details there. So that's it for the campaign map reveals. Just a couple of quick final notes for those who might be curious. Basically, this is what like the ideal army would have looked like. And I guess it's pretty similar to what I have in like previous campaigns, where basically I would have a 5 cavalry, if you include the general, 7 infantry, and then 4 archers. And then usually there would be another set of 4 that would just kind of be whatever was available. In this case, I went with basically Hypaspis. And actually, the army type just before this is actually quite similar because, I mean, there's not a whole lot of different types of units you can recruit here. But basically, Olganes' army was like the same thing, but just a tier below. So instead of companions, there would be allied cavalry. So actually, by the end of the campaign, yeah, Alexander never did manage to get any more companion cavalry. I mean, there was opportunity, I guess, for it. Like, we could have trained some... Let's see, we could have trained some there. I think there were a couple of other places where I could have trained some. Or maybe not. because I guess I don't really see where I could have trained them. But anyway, I guess I could have had him like stop and get companion cavalry at some point, but it just never seemed like a good idea to wait the few turns, because I think it's 2 turns to get companion cavalry, I assume. Yes, it is. So I would have had to wait like 4 turns to get 2 more units, and that definitely wasn't going to happen. So that's what happened there, and that's why he doesn't have like the highest cavalry. But the army just below him had allied cavalry, hoplites instead, but they still had Hippaspis and archers. And I guess you guys saw my tactics throughout the campaign, so I don't need to explain very much about that. I did actually end up using Scythian horse archers a fair bit. You guys would never have seen me do so, though. Or at least I don't think I ever showed you. Because basically, I would actually use them a fair bit when I was purging rebels. They would, not always, but they would often be like a cavalry unit or 2 that I would send along with just like hoplites and maybe Hippaspis. It depended on how big the enemy force was, of course, but Scythian horse archers actually were used a fair bit. Alright, but anyway, that's it for army composition. For settlement development, I mean, basically, I almost didn't concentrate on military buildings at all in this campaign, which is very unusual, but then again, this campaign is sort of an unusual one. You see, typically in my other campaigns, like in my 4th Age campaign that's going on right now, my Medieval 2, the Julii, I would usually have like 2 or 3 settlements that would be like my main military recruitment, and they would be like my starting settlements, basically. And I would train up like a whole bunch of new armies, like just as I had the money available, and they would just be higher and higher tier as the military buildings became available. I would concentrate on making those... I would concentrate on military buildings in those settlements first, even before like economic buildings, just so that by the time I was ready to train up another army, the buildings would be available already. But every other settlement in the Empire, it was always economic buildings first. Now, since I did have so much money, I did still go for military buildings if, you know, I didn't have like any other type of buildings to build, but they would be dead last. It would always be economic buildings first to, you know, get all this money. And then it would be like happiness buildings, like public health buildings, things like that, and then military buildings last. And I don't think there are any real exceptions to that, except for maybe Halicarnassus, because I think I did prioritize military buildings here for a bit, once Alexander like crossed over here, just so that we could get a few good units here. But I mean, other than that, like all of these settlements, like whatever military buildings they have, they're basically there because the Persians built them. Because I really didn't. Like you can even see here, Susa is still building like farms, so I haven't even made it through all of the economic buildings here yet. But I would have, once that building was done, you see there's no other economic buildings, so I would have then concentrated on, say, maybe the sewers next, and then the Odeon and the temples, just to build up the happiness there as well, which was kind of important. In fact, in a way, that was also a way of building up the economy. Because then sometimes I could actually change the tax rate from low to something higher, because I would only leave behind like a single unit, a single peasant unit, no less, to actually be the garrisons for these places. But by the end of the campaign, I just had so much money that I think I did just have low taxes basically everywhere. And of course, there were some settlements. Hello, Memphis, my old friend. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the campaign too much, or in the episodes too much, but there were some settlements that were just so rebellious that I actually did end up training more and more peasant units just to try to keep them under control. In fact, here, let's move these guys out of there. You see, with just one peasant unit in there, it was like 65%. Let's see, if I put in, like, let's say 3 more units. Ah. Okay. So I guess their, what do you call it? Their unrest must have gone down after a while. I don't think I ever went back, though, to any of the settlements and started, like, removing their garrisons. Like, if they were suddenly becoming happy. Actually, like, look at this. Even with 6 units here, they're still just barely hanging on there. Yeah, I guess some of these settlements I could have possibly gone back and actually removed some of their units, though it doesn't really look like it for most of them. Also, I forgot to mention while we were going back through the saves, remember at one point we also changed the capital. We actually made it Babylon. Mostly because it's basically in the center of the map, and we were conquering over here at this point, so I kind of wanted it to be more centrally located. Though it is also appropriate, I think the narrator actually said it at the end of the campaign in that little cinematic there, how Alexander basically moved the capital to Babylon. And so it was appropriate for me to do so historically speaking, but also from a gameplay perspective, just so that we could have the capital as centrally located as possible. But then it also means that like some of our original starting settlements actually started having like public order issues. See, there's a distance to capital negative there of negative 50%, which is not good. I think there's also, yes, there's corruptions. Corruption occurs the further away from your capital, I think, the province actually is. So, like, if I go to Babylon itself, I think there's probably, like, no corruption there. Yeah, you see, there's no corruption here at all. All right, but anyway, that's basically it for settlement development. And, I mean, I guess that's basically it overall. I guess just as a reminder from... I think I would have mentioned all this in the prologue, but basically there were no auto-resolves, not even against the rebels. Now, I didn't show you guys all those battles because I didn't think it would be anything you guys wanted to see, but I basically fight all of my battles. The only auto-resolves are ones I have to, like with the navies here, because obviously there is no fighting on the battle map. Those are only auto-resolves. And of course, in this campaign, I did break that rule once for Banu, though I like to think that I didn't really break the rule, because I did fight the battle. I just didn't fight it a second time after the game crashed. And that's just because the reason I don't do auto-resolves, even for, like, small battles that aren't important enough to, like, even show you guys, is just because I enjoy them. Like, even small battles with, like, just small amounts of troops versus other small amounts of troops, they can still be enjoyable, even if I don't think, again, you guys would probably enjoy them as I do. Which, again, is why I wouldn't show them. You may have also noticed in some of the battles, I can't remember if this happened really in too many battles this time during this campaign. But basically, I would avoid trying to like take the center of the settlement and run down the timer. In fact, that's just a big no. I never do that in any of my campaigns. It feels so silly in a way for like the battle to just kind of end because you happen to be standing like in a specific spot for a while. Again, I don't think that happened too much. I usually did have to fight, through the rest of the enemy who had, like, routed back to the center of the settlement. But there were a couple of times, I think, where I could have just taken the center. Oh, yeah, actually, there was one battle. I can't remember... Was it Molton or was it Balk? I can't remember, but you guys remember. There was this one battle where there was, like, a single... Not a cavalry unit, just one guy from a cavalry unit who was stuck in a building somewhere. It was only a few episodes ago, but I can't remember which one it was. But he was stuck there, and so I could have just had my guys stand in the center of the settlement while that one guy was stuck in a building, off on the other side of the map. But I didn't do it even then. I did have my units go around there and kill that guy, just because I don't like that. That was one mechanic that I think could have just been eliminated from every Total War game. And yes, I know that it hasn't been eliminated. It exists basically in every Total War game. And actually, I think they've expanded upon it. Because if I remember in Warhammer 3, and in other more recent Total War games as well, but I haven't played them. Warhammer 3, at least, I know there's like multiple control points throughout a settlement. Not just like one like center of the settlement point. Yeah, that's something that can actually, frankly, just be completely ripped out of every Total War game, and I would be happy. Yours is pretty easy for me to avoid, to be honest. Just don't stand in the center of the settlement. Go after the enemy, wherever they may be found. But anyway, that's how I fight my battles. And I'm always a little nostalgic. Well, not nostalgic, sad. I'm sad when the campaign's about to end. That's actually another reason why, by the way, I don't just rush to the end. like why I, keep the Empire intact. It's not just really the delusion that I might come back to the campaign someday. It's also, I'm just kind of sad because the campaign is over, and I know there'll be another campaign to start eventually, but I mean, it's unlikely that I'll come back to this campaign anytime soon. Like, no, I don't just mean come back to, like, this save, but, like, when is the next time I would ever play the Alexander campaign? Because there's just so many Total War games at this point, and so many mods that you could play, and so many campaigns, both vanilla and modded, that you could be playing. And there's so many factions in all of those games and in all of those mods that you could be playing. And it's like there's always something new to do, which is great. I'm not like complaining per se about that. It's just that it means there's very little, like I have no idea when I would next play like just a vanilla Julii campaign in the base game, or as the Huns again in Barbarian Invasion, or as this Alexander campaign again, because there's just so many other campaigns to do. So now I'm like a little sad because basically I have no idea if I will ever play this campaign again. Now, I should say that I actually should specify also that I really did enjoy this campaign, because I know this expansion kind of gets just dumped on. And admittedly, it's not as good as like the base game, or even as good as Barbarian Invasion. It's definitely not as replayable because, there's only one faction to play as. And even if you have a mod or something to unlock like the other factions, there's still only like 2 or 3 others to play as. So I'll admit, yes, it's not as good as, say, Barbarian Invasion or, like, the main campaign, but I still think it was enjoyable. Still something that I think, like, if you are a Total War fan, if you like Rome 1, I think you should have played this, like, at least once. And enjoyed it. Like, I don't think you would be like, oh, why did I have to play that Alexander campaign? And maybe that's just my bias, because I think I mentioned at the beginning of the campaign that Alexander is one of my favorite military commanders of all time. And obviously this is about him. So I certainly enjoyed myself. And maybe it's also the time that it came out in. Because I did just say like, oh, there's so many Total War games and so many campaigns and so many mods and blah, 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 blah. But when this came out, that wasn't the case. You would have had Shogun 1, Medieval 1, and Rome 1. Plus, the expansions for those. So you wouldn't have had nearly as many Total War games to play, and not nearly as many mods to play either. And so, like, when you're not as spoiled for choice, you might look at the Alexander campaign and go, ugh, I'd rather play, like the main campaign, or a mod. Like a modded campaign instead. Whereas nowadays, it's like, this is just like another campaign to throw onto the pile of, like, I don't think I'm exaggerating if I say hundreds of campaigns. Like, if you include all of the campaigns from all of the Total War games, plus, like, many of, like, the popular mods for all of those games, it's probably hundreds of campaigns at this point. I imagine. And I say that even, like, if you only include, like, the popular mods, like, not every single mod that exists, because obviously that would be hundreds, maybe even thousands of campaigns. But, I mean, it's definitely hundreds. Like, even if you only include, like, the vanilla campaigns and, like, the most popular mods, I still think that's hundreds at this point. All right, but anyway, so just one last thing. Obviously, my 4th Age campaign in the original Rome 1 is still going on. Or a mod for the original Rome 1, I should say, is still going on. And so now that's going to get 2 episodes a week instead of 1. And basically, that's just going to keep happening until that campaign is over. And then once the 4th Age campaign is over, then we'll start 2 new campaigns. All right, but anyway, at this point, I'm just babbling, probably trying to avoid having the campaign end, because this is the last time I will see it. But anyway, or I don't need to take up any more of your time. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in any future campaigns.